What if I told you that the wealthiest people in the world play by rules you were never taught in school? Not math, not science, not history. Rules that decide who struggles forever and who builds a life of freedom, impact, and abundance. Here's the hard truth. Schools don't teach you how money really works. They don't show you how to create wealth, how to multiply opportunities, or how to think like the 1%. They teach you how to follow instructions, how to fit into a system, how to work hard for someone else's dream. But millionaires? They learn a different game. They learn how to question the script. They learn how to bend reality in their favor. They learn how to transform obstacles into stepping stones and turn ordinary decisions into extraordinary leverage. I want you to imagine this. Two people graduate from the same school, with the same degree, the same intelligence. One ends up trapped in a cycle of paycheck to paycheck survival, always running out of time and money. The other, without winning the lottery, without cheating, without being born into wealth, ends up building financial freedom, traveling the world, and creating impact at a scale most people only dream of. What's the difference? It's not luck. It's not even talent. It's the rules. The millionaire rules they don't teach you in school. And today, I'm going to reveal them. Not as abstract theory, not as motivational fluff, but as the raw principles, the very mindset shifts that the wealthiest individuals in history have lived by. From Rockefeller to Elon Musk, from Oprah Winfrey to ordinary people who broke free from poverty, these rules are universal. And once you understand them, once you adopt them, you'll never look at money, success, or your own potential the same way again. But let me give you a warning. These rules are not comfortable. They go against what you were conditioned to believe. They challenge the very way you think about work, risk, security, and life. And that's why so few people ever use them. But those who do, they're the ones who escape the rat race. They're the ones who write their own destiny. So if you're ready to hear what your teachers, your textbooks, and maybe even your parents never told you, then listen closely. Because the next few minutes could change the direction of your entire financial future. Let's begin with the first rule. Perhaps the most important mindset shift of all. When you were growing up, chances are you heard this advice on repeat. Study hard, get good grades, find a stable job, work your way up, retire at 65. It sounds safe, it sounds logical. But here's the shocking truth. It's a trap. The first rule millionaires live by, the one schools never taught you, is this: never trade time directly for money. Let me explain. Every job, no matter how high-paying, has one fatal flaw. You only earn as long as you work. The moment you stop, the income stops too. Your time is limited, which means your earning is capped. And that's why most people, no matter how hard they grind, never break free. Millionaires think differently. They understand that wealth is not about working harder. It's about creating systems, assets, and opportunities that keep generating value, even when they're not physically present. Think of Warren Buffett. Does Buffett work harder than the average factory worker? Not at all. In fact, Buffett spends most of his time reading, thinking, and making a few big decisions. Yet, his investments, his assets, work for him 24/7, compounding his wealth while he sleeps. Or consider J.K. Rowling. She wrote the Harry Potter series once, just once. But that intellectual property keeps selling books, movies, merchandise, and theme parks, earning her millions long after the work was done. This is the mindset shift. Millionaires ask, how can I make my money, my ideas, or my systems work for me, instead of me working for money? Here's a simple metaphor. Most people are buckets. They fill their bucket with water every day by working hours. But millionaires, they build pipelines. A pipeline delivers water endlessly, whether they're working or not. So, how do you build your own pipeline? Invest in assets. Real estate, stocks, businesses, things that generate cash flow or appreciate in value. Build scalable skills. Digital products, apps, online businesses, creative works, things you can create once and sell infinitely. Leverage systems, hiring people, automating processes, building structures that multiply your efforts without multiplying your time. But here's the catch. This rule requires courage. It requires breaking free from the mindset that safety comes from a paycheck. It requires you to believe that your time is worth more than an hourly rate. And this is why schools don't teach it. Because schools were designed to produce employees, not entrepreneurs. Workers, not owners. But the moment you embrace this rule, when you stop seeing your time as something to be sold and start seeing it as something to be multiplied, you step into the mindset of a millionaire. Think about it. If you keep selling your hours, your life will always be measured by someone else's clock. But if you start building assets, you create a life measured by freedom, impact, and choice. And that is the first rule they done teach you in school. Millionaires don't trade time for money. They build wealth that works for them, long after the work is done. When most people think about money, they think about it emotionally. They see it as a symbol of status, security, or fear. For some, it represents freedom. For others, it's a constant reminder of struggle. But millionaires? They see money differently. They don't see it as the finish line. They see it as a tool, a lever that can build, multiply, and shape opportunities. Let's take a story. Imagine a carpenter. Give him a hammer and he can build a house. But the hammer itself isn't the goal. Nobody says, "Wow, you have 10 hammers, you must be rich." The hammer is simply a tool, a means to an end. Money is the same way. Schools never teach you this. They condition you to chase money for the sake of having money. Get a high-paying job, save every penny, retire with a nest egg. But millionaires know that hoarding money is not the same as using it. They use money as a multiplier. For example, take Elon Musk. Did Musk build Tesla and SpaceX by saving his salary? No. He reinvested the money he made from PayPal into bigger ideas. He saw money as fuel to power innovation. He didn't hoard it, he deployed it. Or consider Oprah Winfrey. She didn't just stop at being a talk show host. She reinvested her earnings into her own network, and into businesses that created long-term wealth and influence. She used money to build platforms that multiplied her impact. Here's the shift. The average person asks, "How do I save money?" Millionaires ask, "How do I use money to create more value?" This is why millionaires buy assets instead of liabilities. It's why they spend on learning, networking, and building systems, instead of just chasing temporary comfort. They know that money sitting still is money dying. But money in motion, invested, leveraged, multiplied, creates more money. And it's not just about the big names. Ordinary people too can make this shift. Consider someone who spends $300 on a weekend of partying. That same $300 could buy a course that teaches a new skill, an ad campaign to launch a side business, or shares of stock that appreciate over time. The difference isn't the amount of money, it's the mindset about how to use it. Millionaires don't worship money, they command it. They see it as energy, as leverage, as a tool that works for them. So let me ask you, are you holding on to money or are you putting it to work? Because the second millionaire rule is clear. Money is never the goal, it's the tool. We live in a culture of instant gratification. We want results now, fast money, overnight success, quick wins. And that's exactly why most people never build lasting wealth. Millionaires, on the other hand, live by a hidden truth. They think long-term. They don't think in days or weeks. They think in years, decades, and even generations. Let me share something with you. Jeff Bezos, when he was building Amazon, famously told investors, "We are willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time." He wasn't chasing quick profits. He was building infrastructure, warehouses, logistics, technology that wouldn't pay off for years. Today, Amazon dominates the world because Bezos thought in decades, not quarters. Or take Warren Buffett again. Buffett has a favorite holding period for his investments: forever. He doesn't panic sell when the market dips. He doesn't chase the next shiny stock. He looks for businesses with long-term durability and lets compounding do the heavy lifting. This is the secret. The true power of wealth comes from compounding over time. Not just compounding money, but compounding habits, skills, and relationships. Think about it. The person who saves $500 a month for 30 years will have more wealth than the person who tries to get rich quick with risky bets. The entrepreneur who spends years building trust, reputation, and brand will outlast the one chasing a quick cash grab. Schools don't teach this because they reward short-term thinking, grades every semester, tests every week, assignments every day. You're trained to think in cycles of instant results, but millionaires zoom out. They play the long game. And here's the paradox. When you focus on decades, the pressure disappears. Suddenly, you don't need to win today. You only need to make steady, disciplined moves in the right direction. It's less about intensity, more about consistency. Let me put it another way. Poor people think about Saturday night. The middle class thinks about next month's paycheck. The wealthy think about the next 30 years. Now, this doesn't mean millionaires don't act quickly. They do. But their vision is anchored in the future. Every decision today is a seed planted for tomorrow. So if you want to live by this rule, ask yourself, where will this decision put me in 5 years? Is this a short-term thrill or a long-term investment? Am I building pipelines that will last, or just filling a bucket for today? Because the third millionaire rule is this: wealth is not built overnight. It is built over time through the relentless power of long-term thinking. If you listen to the average person talk about millionaires, you'll hear the same words over and over again. They got lucky, right place, right time, born with connections. But here's the truth the wealthy know and the rest of the world ignores. Success is not luck, it is habit. Let's break this down. Every millionaire you admire didn't just stumble into fortune. They built habits, small, daily actions that compounded into extraordinary results. These habits became the invisible blueprint of their success. Think of it like this. Luck is a coin toss. Habits are gravity. One is random, the other is inevitable. Take the story of Kobe Bryant, not a business mogul in the traditional sense, but his millionaire mindset was undeniable. He was always the first to arrive at the gym and the last to leave. He didn't just rely on talent, he mastered habits. And those habits gave him opportunities, endorsements, influence, and wealth beyond basketball. Or look at Warren Buffett's routine. He reads 500 pages a day, not because he's lucky, but because he knows that knowledge compounds and decisions made from deep understanding are worth billions. Millionaires understand that habits are the true lottery tickets. Wake up early, read daily, invest consistently, build relationships, stay disciplined. Over time, these habits don't just create wealth, they shape destiny. And here's the twist. Bad habits compound too. Debt, procrastination, unhealthy lifestyles, toxic relationships. They also snowball over time, but in the opposite direction. While good habits quietly build your freedom, bad habits quietly build your prison. Schools don't teach this because they reward performance, not process. You're graded on test scores, not on how you studied. You're judged on results, not on habits. But millionaires flip this script. They know that results are temporary, but habits are permanent. So here's the final rule. Stop chasing luck and start mastering habits. Because the wealthy didn't win the lottery. They created routines that made success unavoidable. And that's why the fourth millionaire rule is this. Luck may open a door, but habits build the house. Now let's bring this all together. We've uncovered the 4 millionaire rules they don't teach you in school. Millionaires don't trade time for money. They build pipelines, assets, and systems that work for them. Millionaires see money as a tool, not a goal. They use it to create value, multiply opportunities, and build freedom. Millionaires think in decades, not days. They trust the power of compounding and long-term vision. Millionaires master habits, not luck. They design daily disciplines that make success inevitable. These rules are not abstract theories. They are the raw, tested principles that separate the few who rise from the many who remain stuck. They are the difference between living a life of reaction and living a life of creation. But here's the real question. What will you do with them? Because information alone changes nothing. You can hear this, nod your head, feel motivated for a few minutes, and then go back to the same cycle. Or you can take this moment right now as a turning point. Maybe today is the day you stop trading your time for money and start building your first asset. Maybe today is the day you stop worshiping money and start commanding it. Maybe today is the day you zoom out, think in decades, and make decisions your future self will thank you for. Maybe today is the day you commit to mastering habits, tiny, daily disciplines that will compound into the wealth, freedom, and impact you've always dreamed of. Understand this. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need luck. What you need is a decision. A decision to stop living by the rules that school taught you and start living by the rules that millionaires live by. Because the truth is, the gap between you and them is not as wide as you think. It's not about being born rich or being a genius or having connections. It's about mindset. It's about rules. It's about what you believe is possible. And the moment you adopt these rules, the moment you start living by them, is the moment everything changes. So here is my challenge to you. Don't just listen. Don't just feel inspired. Act. Choose one of these rules today and put it into practice. Start building your pipeline. Use money as a tool. Think long-term. Lock in your habits. Because when you do, you step into a new reality. A reality where freedom is possible. A reality where wealth is inevitable. A reality where you are no longer a player in someone else's game. You are the one writing the rules. This is your life. This is your moment. And the millionaire mindset is waiting for you. Believe it, live it, and never forget. The future doesn't belong to the lucky. The future belongs to those who build it.